We got all the solar panels on the roof, and that feels huge. But without the wiring, we're not there yet.
On this episode, we're going to connect all the wiring and find out if this salvage solar system will really work before we head out in just a few days to boondock in Quartzsite, Arizona for a month.
I'm Jamie.
I'm Linda.
And this is Roaming with Rosie.
Yay! In the last episode, we mounted the salvage solar panels to the roof and got everything physically into place. Today is about connecting it all, panels, charge controller, and batteries, and finding out if this system is really ready for the road. Because if it isn't, we're headed to Quartzsite, Arizona for a month of boondocking with only our generator to charge our lithium batteries. With the panels mounted on the roof, the next challenge is getting all of that power safely down into the RV, and that means finding the right path inside.
What I have to do is I have to drill some access holes for when I run my wires from the roof down to my charge controller down in the bay over here. Up in the ceiling, I'm going to have to put a hole, and then I'm going to have to put a hole in the side over here because it's going to run down the side of the refrigerator through this wall over top of where the heater is and then down into the bay. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a hole here through the floor down into the bay right over here.
That's how thick the floor is. Now what?
I gotta drill an access hole over here.
Because you're going to come down behind the refrigerator and then you got to
come down the side of the refrigerator down here, through there, down in that hole, and then over to the charge.
How are you going to find your cord when you put it down?
Yeah, I'm going to use a fish tape.
Oh, okay. I saw you do that before.
So I'm just going to pop a hole right here.
Yeah. Next comes mounting the Victron charge controller. This needs to be secure, accessible, and positioned so all of the wiring can be routed clearly.
What I did is I came down in this other bay right here. And the reason I put my hole there is I didn't want to come down anywhere here because I have all this electrical. So I didn't want to come down there. So I came down because I knew that was nice and open. But now what I need to do is do a hole to go from this bay to this bay. So I'm going to drill a hole right here into that other bay. And that way my wires will come down through that hole and down into where I want them to hook up down here. Is it through over there?
Yep.
So now I'm going to mount my charge controller inside my bay where my batteries are. So all I need to do is, I've already have a space over here basically established for where I want it. So I'm just going to go ahead and get that screwed up there. Like that. The screw's not going to stay in there. I only have two hands, man. It's not going to work. Get my drill.
The first two screws go in without any trouble.
I don't know how I'm going to be able to see to get the other one in.
Behind it?
Yeah.
But the screws on the far side of the controller, back in the corner of the compartment, are another story. There's very little room to work back here. Jamie can't see the mounting holes, can't get his arm in far enough, and has to rely almost entirely on feel.
I can't.
This is one of those moments where RV installs look simple on paper, but the reality is tight spaces, awkward angles, and a lot of patience.
too. I don't know. So what we have is we have a 50 amp breaker, and that's coming from the solar panels. So the solar panel wires are going to come down through the roof behind the fridge out here, and then down into this box, and then connect right here. And then it continues from out of here into the charge controller. So the 50 amp one controls the solar panels, so I can shut those off if I want to be able to work on them and it's sunny outside and nothing's going to happen. This 100 amp one is anything going from here to the batteries, from the charge controller to the batteries. That way both of those things are going to protect my charge controller. If there's anything funky that happens, I can go and shut these off and protect that. Say a surge happens or whatever, this is going to pop, it's not going to fry that. If something happens with the solar panels and there's a surge or whatever, that's going to pop and it's going to protect that. And the reason we're protecting that is that unit is like an $800 unit, so it's well worth it to put these breakers in there to protect that.
It's really wobbling.
What the f?
Went in?
Yeah,
Was that the 6 times the charm?
apparently.
Okay, now what?
Now put the cover back on.
3rd time?
Yeah. Okay, that's it for today. Okay, so we got the breaker box mounted, the charge controller mounted. As you can see, I left that wiring, everything that went from the breaker to the charge controller hooked up. So the only wires that I have to run are the ones that are going to come down from the roof. Those are the only ones that I have to actually hook up to the charge controller, and also one to the breaker. Being that it's going to rain today, I'm not going to pop a hole in the roof because I don't want to deal with possible rain getting in. I want to be able to pop the hole, run my wires, put it's a little access cover for the wires to run through, down through the roof. I want to screw that down and put die-core on it, but there's not enough time because the die-core is not going to set up in time before it's going to rain. So we're going to get back on this tomorrow. We're going to run drill our hole through the roof, run our wire down, hook everything up down here, and then we'll start hooking up the solar panels to our combiner box, which is going to be up on the roof. Now that we got all the other holes drilled, the one that goes down into the bay, the one that goes from one bay to the other bay to where the charge controller is, now what I need to do is drill a hole up through the roof. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from the inside, I'm going to drill up. I'm going to start with this drill bit, which is the same size as the pilot drill bit for the hole saw. What I want to try to do is get this to go through the roof and then come down from the top down, because I think if I go up with the hole saw, it's going to rip the roofing and all that, and I don't want that to happen. So I'm just going to go through with this drill first and establish where the hole is, and then come down from the top.
Not long enough?
Yeah, we're gonna have to,
You have to go to Lowe's?
I'm gonna have to go to Lowe's and get a longer bit. So initially I started drilling a pilot hole with this 1/4 inch drill. Problem being, it's not long enough to go all the way through the roof. So I went to Lowe's and I got a longer drill bit. So that should get me through to the roof.
Do you think it went all the way through?
I think so. I gotta go on the roof and see. So we're up on the roof of the RV, and this is where my hole is, right here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my hole saw and I'm going to drill down. So now I'm going to have to go on the inside, and I'm going to have to drill up from the bottom because this isn't long enough. And then we're going to run our wire, and then I'll put the cover piece that goes on there.
All right, so we now have a hole in the roof, and it might rain, but we're going to work quick today.
So now I have my hole going down to just above where the refrigerator is. I'm going to run my positive and negative wire. This is going to go into my combiner box, but I'm going to run this down down on top of the refrigerator, then go on the inside and pull it down into below the cabinets, and then into the bay, and then over to where the charge controller is. So first thing you can do is feed it down from here. And then I'm going to take it from here all the way into that bay.
So what is that thing?
It's a fish tape.
The extra, pull it back up again?
No.
Cut it?
Yeah, I take it all the way over to the bay where the charge controller is and cut the excess off. I got as much as I need up on the roof. The hole's over here. Alright. I need to take my hole saw and put a hole here so that I can get my wires down through there into this part of the bay. So it's called a cable entry gland. What it is, it's a cover. It's got two glands on it that your wires run through. They send it out to you. It doesn't have any holes. I want to be able to screw it down. So I'm going to drill holes to be able to put my screws through there. And then before I do that, before I mount it on the roof, I'm also going to put VHB tape down. So I'm going to drill holes, put VHB tape, screw it down, then I'll put Dicor over it. Okay, so now my screws will go through there and screw it down to the roof. I don't want to just put VHB and Dicor. I'm going to run my wires through here. So now that I have my wires running through my cover here, I got to take the back off of the VHB tape. Now what I'm doing, now that I have this mounted, I'm going to tighten my glands. And what these things do is they have a thing that basically clamps down on the wire, holds it tight, but it also creates a waterproof connection. So water can't go in there and go down into the roof. See, so that's nice and tight. See here, I can slide it in and out. This one I can't move because it's all nice and tight. Okay, so those are both tight. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my die core around here, get that all sealed up. So this is my junction box or combiner box. And what it is my wires coming here are going to come through these two spots here. I have to put the glands on there. And then all my wires from my solar panels are going to come in through these holes here. So first thing I need to do is get these popped out of here and get the glands in there. And then once I have all the glands, I'm going to run these wires into it, cut them to the length that I need them to be, and mount this. And the reason I want to do this is because when I go to put die core on this, I want to be able to, once you use open die core, that's it. There's no plugging it up and saving it. It just keeps going. So I don't want to waste the die core. So I want to get these put in first and get this all mounted, and then I can apply my die core. It's supposed to pop out, but it's not doing that. So I'm gonna have to go down and drill these out. Okay, so I have all my waterproof glands put in now. I have these two for this size, and then I have 6 that are the size for the wires that come off the solar panels. So I actually had to drill those out because they wouldn't just pop out easily. So what I'm going to do is, it's got VHB already on it, and I'm going to mount that right around here. So I'm going to run my wires into there, and then I'm going to put die core all around on the bottom side, so that way I have a waterproof seal when I go to screw it down. All right. Okay, so now I'm gonna put my die core on this back side, and the reason I'm doing it this way, if you mount this down and then try to put die core around the edge, you'll never get it on there because you have all of these things that are in the way. So if you put your die core down on the bottom first, you're gonna get a better seal. So I'm going to cut the excess off and just roll it up. I'm going to finish wiring everything tomorrow, so I'm just going to cut this there. And there. And now what I can do is I can put my top on here in case it rains or anything tonight. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish the wiring down here in this compartment. I'm going to finish wiring up my charge controller, so I'm going to get that all wired up. And then I'm going to go from the charge controller to the Lynx distributor, and that will complete everything down here. All I'll have to do after that is go up on the roof and finish running the wires to the combiner box.
Well, it doesn't look like it's going to go far enough to reach it down to the charge controller.
It's not going to the charge controller, it's going to the breaker.
That's why I asked, what is that wire?
The links distributor is like a bus bar.
Which means?
Which means all your connections are going to go to this. So now that I have my red wire going into my breaker, and then I ran my ground wire, my negative, over to where the POV is, the PV for the charge controller. So I got that set up. Now what I need to do is this wire and this wire are my wires that are going to go to my links distributor, and that's going to take the power that the charge controller is bringing down from the solar panels is going to go into the battery bank via the links distributor. I need to hook up my wires going to the links distributor, so I got to go get the proper wrench to be able to undo this, and then I'll hook that up.
And where's that one coming from?
It's coming from the charge controller. It's the positive side. I'm just using the same end that it had when we had it in the Alpha.
Gotcha.
And once I have it connected, I'm going to do the same thing that I did with the other one, shorten it up. All right, so we have have my negative wire hooked up to the links distributor. Now I got to do the positive. Put our cover back on. Okay, so that's everything that has to be done down here. I got the solar charge controller all hooked up. Got my breakers all hooked up. Right now I got my breakers off, so I don't want any power going either way. Now what we need to do is go up on top of the roof and start running the wires from the panels to my combiner box. Now that we have everything wired down in the bay where the charge controller is, I need to tilt up all my panels so I can run the wires from the panel to my combiner box. So I got to get every panel all tilted up so I have access to be able to get those wired. That's the positive side on that solar panel. Connects to the negative side on this solar panel. And then the positive side here runs to the junction box. And the negative side over here runs to the junction box.
Okay. Getting colder and colder. So Jamie has all of the panels wired together now, so they're connected to each other. Now he's got one part of the line already going into the combiner box. At the end of the day yesterday, we were getting freezing rain, So we stopped for the day, and now he's got to get the rest of them connected to the combiner box. So how many solar panels does that make that you've wired up so far?
2.
Just
4 panels.
4 panels, okay. So you've paired them, you've wired them
In series.
in series of 2s?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're going to have 3 lines that come to this?
Yeah.
Yesterday we had to quit because it got down to about 39 degrees and there was some freezing rain coming in. So besides all that, it was windy on top of everything else, and the 2 of us were not dressed for it. The sun was going down, so we had to call it quits for the day. Here we are on Saturday. We leave for Quartzsite on Wednesday morning. Really coming down to the wire, no pun intended. Today is all about wiring. The weather's a little better. Right now it's 40 degrees, but as you can see, I was able to take my jacket off because it's still high desert sun, so it can get quite warm in the sun. If it doesn't work once it's all connected, then we'll be using our generator until we find somebody in Quartzsite to figure out what's wrong.
So we've completed all the wiring up top, completed wiring all the panels to the combiner box. Last thing is I got to flip these breakers, and hopefully it doesn't blow up on my face, and we can get it showing up on our app here. I'm gonna go ahead and pop my breakers here. Well, that's a good sign. I just got lights. So you can see on our app, we got the charge controller showing up, and it's bringing in 144 watts right now. The reason why it's so low is because the solar panels are actually facing the opposite direction of where the sun is right now, because that's the way I needed them to be able to wire them. Everything I've done has worked out really well, so we're all set as far as pulling in power from the sun through our solar panels. So last thing I need to do is go up and do my wire management, get all my wires tacked down where I want them to be, and then put the panels back down, and then we'll be ready to head out to Quartzsite.
The moment we've been waiting for, Jamie turned on the breaker down here, and it all works. It shows on his phone, on his app. Everything is charging. It's just not charging well because those solar panels at the moment are facing away from the sun, just so he could get all of his wire management accomplished. All the wires are all bundled together and attached to the roof so they're not going anywhere. And then Jamie's just doing a little more waterproofing, right?
Yeah.
This solar install started with salvage panels and a tight timeline. From the roof to the living space, through the cabinetry, and down to the storage bay, everything is finally connected. The panels are mounted, the wiring is complete, and the charge controller and batteries are working together just the way they should. This was a project that took planning, patience, and more time than we expected, but seeing it all come together makes it worth it. Everything's wired, everything's running, and we're out here boondocking in Quartzsite with many of our friends and followers. This is exactly what we built it for. There's a QR code here, as well as down in this video's description, for a link to a list of all the products needed to build this power system.
If you found this video helpful, we'd really appreciate it if you'd share it with your friends and family on social media. And if you're not yet a subscriber, go ahead and hit that subscribe button.
And ring that bell, that way you'll be notified every time we upload new content.
And make sure to leave a comment, that way you could be part of the conversation.
Until next time,
We'll see ya.
That's a wrap, roamers. If these adventures and tips are keeping you inspired, subscribe and watch another one. Your next RV tip or destination is just a click away.